Hello everyone, Dr. Ed here with the pack, and today we're going to talk about utilizing the Vertebral Subluxation Pamphlet properly. So what I want to do is kind of get you guys back up to speed. If you went back and watched the exam video and then you go into the x-ray procedure, at the end of the exam video you'll notice that I go through the subluxation degeneration chart in detail to get the patient geared up to understand that this is why we take x-rays in cases like theirs, so we can see how much of the subluxation degeneration or spinal arthritis is built up in their spine. So now we're going to walk into, so I want you to picture this, we're going to walk into the x-ray room, we're going to get the person ready for the x-ray procedure. There's not really a lot of education in the x-ray room, but we still want to have touches of repetition about the subluxation complex, how it relates to them. So if you can picture this, you'll have the brand new from Life University subluxation degeneration complex chart up, and you'll have one facing the wall that when they turn lateral like this to take the lateral shot, they'll be staring right at this subluxation degeneration chart. This way, if you remember from the exam, when we set an anchor on them, when we said it was a profile shot from them facing this way, when we go to take their x-rays and they're facing like that, we can trigger that off, and you should have their head doing this the whole time. It means they're relating, that they understand what's going on automatically, and it's relating to them. Now you got to remember, this is a side view of a person's neck, so you have to relate it to each part of their spine. So when they do the lateral thoracic, you're going to touch the lateral side of their thoracic, say this is the lateral shot or the profile shot of your mid-back we're taking to see how much degeneration is in there, or what phase you're in, and then also at the lower back. So now at this point, we've taken the x-ray. So with the A to P, very little explanation. You're sitting there and you take the x-ray, or your staff does. They turn, then they get ready to do the profile shot, and you're gonna go ahead and explain to them the phase placements. When they're all done with that, now we look at every aspect of time for educational purposes so we can get information on their belief system window. Remember I was talking about that. So we're going to go look at the x-rays real quick, make sure that they came out okay, crop them. If there's anything we have to retake or position or flip them, however you're going to look at them. It only takes a couple seconds. But we want to give them an opportunity to get familiar with some other things. So that's where the subluxation pamphlet comes in. Now this is a brand new subluxation pamphlet from the pack that I just wrote up here lately, so you can get these. They're available on the webpage. Basically call me direct too, but they're available on the webpage, and you'll be able to order these. I think they're $49 for 100 or something like that. But anyhow, they're like 50 cents a piece. So it works out really well. I want you to realize that when I create something, I don't create it just to sell it. So there was 100 hours worth of videotaping to determine how a person would read these, or if they would read them. So there's a specific procedure through everything that we do. You can put your own personality in it, but specific procedure of everything we do to trigger off anchors and things that we set like through the exam. So let me show you how this works. So picture this. I get done looking at the films real quick. I come back out, and now I'm going to reiterate to the person what's going to happen on their next visit. So I'll say to them, I'll say, Bill, on your next visit, pardon me, let me back up a second. Before you go into the dark room to take a look at the x-rays, you're going to present them this pamphlet. And what you're going to do is you're going to trigger off what just happened to them in the exam. So I'll say to them, I say, Bill, this is a pamphlet on the subluxation complex. This is what we just examined you for, and this is what you have in your spine. So I want you to start to look at it today, but take it home with you tonight. So when we do your report and recommendations tomorrow, you have a better understand what you're looking at when it comes to your case. Let me get you familiar with the pamphlet. So what I did is I wrote it out in sequence so that you can trigger off the different components. So I'll say, Bill, remember when we put you up against the mirror and we took a look at your spinal distortions, and they should be going like this the whole time. Here's the area in the pamphlet that explains that and the research that supports it. Then Bill, then we examined you for pinched and irritated nerves. Remember when we did that? You about came off the bench. Here's the area in the pamphlet that explains that and the medical research that supports that. Then Bill, we talked about that bubblegum and burn victim skin stuff. That's this area in the pamphlet here in the medical research that supports it. Then also put those same x-rays that were on the poster. So you start to get familiar with this. So when we do your report tomorrow, you have a better understanding of what subluxation degeneration means to you in your case, and what phase placement you're in, or spinal arthritis as we're talking. So then what I'll do is I'll give this to them. Now I'll go back in and I'll take a look at the films. When I come back out, and it's only a couple seconds, you just want them to get that they're coming to you about education. So I come back out and I'll say something funny like, Bill, hey, you're even photogenic from the inside out. But let me reiterate what's going to happen tomorrow before I have you change into your clothes and we take you up to the front desk and hand you off to Tammy. So I'll say to them, say, Bill, tomorrow when you come in, there's going to be a presentation about x-ray that you're going to see. It'll help you understand normal x-rays and abnormal x-rays, but most importantly, help you understand your x-rays and I'll show them to you. So expect about 20 minutes with me, at least maybe 30 minutes tomorrow. Then I'm going to go over everything I found, give you all my recommendations, and we're going to start adjusting at that point. Today's charges, that includes today's visit, all the way through the report up until your first adjustment is $340. We discussed that today. You said you're going to take care of that in full, so that we'll discuss all other finances at the report of findings. Bill, I'm really looking forward to working with you. Go ahead and change. You just leave the shorts on the bench here, and then crack the door open and we'll walk you up to the front. Here's real important things. Do not let them walk themselves up to the front. You want to make sure that that door opens either a staff member or if someone's there. You don't want to lose the whole relationship here, all right, at that point. I personally try to do that every time. I try to walk them up to the front so I can hand them off to Tammy in the front desk in case there was anything that happened with payment and stuff like that. Now, here's a scenario. I'm going to go into the next video and I'm going to pause this, and then there's going to be two separate videos. So when I'm walking them up to the front desk, there's going to be a handoff. Now I'm going to do this in my personal office because every one of you are going to have a different front desk scenario. But I want to set up and give you a picture of what's happening. The person should have the VSC pamphlet in hand, and they're walking up to the front desk now for me to reiterate what I just told them to my staff and get them scheduled for the report, okay? Now, there's going to be one more touch of patient education that I'm going to present to them before I hand them off to the staff, and the staff go ahead and takes payment, gets them scheduled for the report, and then we part ways, shake hands, and the staff takes over from their finances and everything else. So anyway, stay tuned, but remember, with this video here, go back to the last part of the exam, see how I did the subluxation degeneration chart and did the introduction into the x-ray, because those things all go together simultaneously and seamlessly. It's the transitions to each part of the procedure that makes the PAC procedure work so well. So it's like a big story. You're not saying, okay, now we did this and now we're doing this. It's getting them to see the picture of how it relates to them, and their head the whole time should be going like this in positive affirmation because they understand what's happening. Okay, so hang tight. I'm going to go into the handoff, or what we call into the patient wellness portfolio, and explain how that all came about.